I think the sad answer is we've broken a lot of it. I think there's still some extraordinary career Foreign Service officers at their posts this morning, but a great many of them have left, and a great many who have left had that both experience and institutional memory that is so important in negotiations. Just as an aside, as you know, negotiations are not just about going into a room for 21 hours and hoping to strike a deal. It's about building trust between the two sides. It's about following up on the
Right.
very difficult details of any negotiation. And I think that's what we're seeing unravel in front of us right now, and what makes these next few weeks and months between the US and Iran so unpredictable.
Away from the weeks or months, Alexis wants to address that. But Christopher Smart, critically here, what do you perceive is our healing diplomacy after the time of President Trump?
I think people want America to succeed around the world, and I think they will look at this period as a difficult one. We've had a lot of difficult periods in our history before, and I think they will hope that we can re-engage with the world, not necessarily the way we've done it before under previous presidents, but in a way that is more predictable, more easily for them to engage with, and a sense that we in the United States are looking to build a set of rules and behaviors with other countries, rather than so intensely focusing on just the next particular edge for our own advantage.
Christopher, I just want to talk for a moment about what's happening over in Hungary. We saw that election this weekend, a crushing defeat for PM Viktor Orban. He had such an outsized global influence. And of course, we know he repeatedly blocked aid for Ukraine to fend off Russia's invasion. What does it mean now, the fact that he is no longer in that position? What does it mean for, I think, Ukraine especially?
Well, I think, I'll say this for Tom, you never like to see a team like the Red Sox digging themselves out of a hole. Hungary is kind of a country that has dug a deep hole for itself for the last 16 years, and is in the process, we see now digging itself out. And so that's the good news. It's also good news, as you point out, for Ukraine, because the Orban government has been blocking Europe's efforts to assist Ukraine and Europe's efforts to increase pressure on Russia. So that's good news as well. But it does have a lot of internal repair to undertake right now. And Prime Minister Magyar, who is coming into office, will have to do a whole lot of addressing the institutional damage that Prime Minister Orban has done to impose, to politicize the courts, the central bank, other institutions across the country. So that's the Hungarians' main challenge right now.
What about, I just want to stick with Hungary because there's so much to unpack. Orban was Russia's closest ally in the EU and courted China. What are those countries? Are they distancing themselves already from the new government? I mean, I know it hasn't really been put in place yet, has it? I don't think it has.
Well, it will come. It will enter office very quickly. I think the other countries are trying to understand what's going on. In some sense, this isn't a big surprise for anybody because the polls had shown that he would win, although there was a lot of concern that it would be a close election and therefore a disputed election. I think the Chinese are very pragmatic. They will deal with whomever is the prime minister right now. I think Russia will do the same, although they will continue to work with Orban, who's now moving into opposition with his Fidesz party. But right now, the momentum is on the side of the new prime minister rebuilding its ties with the European Union. The leadership across Europe has embraced him. And I think the other interesting piece, subtext to all of this, is the populist parties in France and Germany and elsewhere around Europe who may be feeling like they have to modulate their message a little bit to be, to understand that Europe is still a very popular message with a great many voters across the continent, and that turning too much against Brussels, against further integration, is not necessarily a winning path for them.